What's up, everybody? This is Enlightened Masculinity Podcast, meaning of relationships, words, importance of words. Cool. All right, we're live. Connect. Cool. All right, this is IMC TV, also Enlightened Masculinity on IMC TV. Welcome. We're live on the TikToks, we're live on one of the Instagrams, and we're live here on Zoom. We're just going to go for about 20 minutes. See here. Welcome. Okay, here we go. Record to cloud. Welcome, everybody. I'm Yogi Chris, founder of Ninth Limb Yoga, captain of IMC Nation. This is Enlightened Masculinity Podcast, streaming to you from IMC Base One. That's where I'm streaming to the Instagram account, Stoic Temple YouTube channel, IMC TV. Of course, this recording is posted on Spotify, Apple, and it's basically a chronicle of IMC Nation, the movement, the evolution. I've interviewed many IMC Nation monks. And just a minute ago, I was going live with Sultan, another one of the guys that lives with AZD, who's the founder of IMC Nation. And he has an Instagram account that blew up overnight. Like in a week, it has 10,000 new subscribers or something. And so we're streaming to them, and there's a lot of common questions that these guys are commenting on all of these viral videos. And so it's very interesting to answer them. So many of the situations I haven't even found myself in, not because they're so high level, they're just like unique situations that guys find themselves in. But I have heard similar questions or the same exact questions on the mastermind, heard AZD give his advice, heard the feedback from guys about how they implemented it or what their obstacles to implementing the advice was. And so I see the cause and effect of the advice, the mastermind effect, other guys give their input. And so I'm able to offer that, which is wonderful, because I'm a student of the subject. I've read a lot of books on the psychology, on the relationships. I've read a lot of things on language. I've studied with many different teachers. I've been at this for years after my PhD, and obviously PhD gave me some merit in some of these subjects and then zero merit in others. For example, being a PhD makes you not good with women at all. You're numb to communication, but you do have some things. You can organize your time. You're self-disciplined. Like those are actually essential ingredients to the player's lifestyle, as we're really going to discover as we move to Vegas. So we're all within 3 weeks, bunch of girlfriends, bunch of businesses, everybody pick up, move to Vegas, sell the condo that we own, move into a new place and just set up shop, and then get all your people to move too. So 25, 30 other IMC Nation guys are all moving to Vegas. And so that's happening. By February 1st, there's going to be a swarm of us doing our thing, running business, making the world better, and just doing it in a lower tax area and, with higher income. And it'll just be great. And our ability to do that, pick up and move and travel light and live light has many meanings. Live light, like mass, heaviness, less, or light as in like travel light, be light. Don't be darkness, be light. And, so all these subjects, you really, I forget where I was going with that. PhD numbs you, but makes you have merit in other areas. And these are all essential ingredients to the player's life. So the guys that have worked their monk lifestyle out and succeeded doing what they were doing, whatever city they're from, Los Angeles, Phoenix, Tampa, Miami, I came from Houston. So like when you move to Vegas and you live with other guys, that's when your process gets tested. That's when your schedule and your discipline is tested. And yeah, there's a lot more success there, a lot of opportunity, a lot of flow through traffic, tourists, and and then the people that live there are fed up with it. So there's stagnant energy. It is the middle of the desert, and it's a rural place in the world and in America, and the country folk there, really. But then there's so much tourism. It's this weird juxtaposition of big money and mafia and like hoe culture and whatever. And then just the kind of the remnants of the frontier of the pioneer country of America. And they're just like juxtaposed right next to each other in Las Vegas. And of course, high altitude, nature, desert nature, but it's still nature, like pretty big mountains, pretty big mountains, pretty big. There's so many ways to say it, whatever. So, answering some of these questions on the live stream with Sultan a moment ago, really for like the second or third day in a row reminds me of how important words are and how difficult it is to really, especially through text or through comments, people you don't know, how to answer their questions or give advice, because they're probably using different definitions than I'm using. And I get my definitions from a mastermind of linguists and players So when it comes to what is a relationship, what is a girlfriend, what is love, what is compliance, obedience, what is respect, and you ask a bunch of different people, and you're going to get a bunch of different definitions for all of these things. And the reality is that I don't call my woman my girlfriend, but she is a better girlfriend than pretty much every girlfriend you could think of that would be called that. I just don't like that label. And I don't do that because, but I do explain it as a girlfriend outside to different folk in different situations because it's just easier for them to process. I don't want to give them a whole lecture on like because I'm in the matrix. It's kind of like there's a 13 calendar season, a 13-month calendar, and there's a 12-month calendar. And if you work with the 13-month, you might be more accurate. But man, you got to do converting left and right, and just your whole life is like on this. You got to keep 2 calendars in your mind at all times, and so it's like explaining words to people so we're on the same page. Never mind that they're not interested in being taught something in that moment, but it's a big hassle. So, but in answering the people in the Instagram, you know, people are saying like, I have 2 relationships. Like, what kind of relationships? What do you mean? I wouldn't normally be so challenging, except many people through social media, the TikToks and Instagram, whatever, have come closer to the IMC Nation organization. They've signed up, they've studied, they've shown their face on camera, they've raised their hand and asked questions. In a few cases, they've even come in person and lived with us for some time. And what I have learned is that, you know, they may be using proper grammar, their sentences may make sense, but they actually don't have the same intention behind the same words. They don't have the same experience when they say my women. The guy says in the comment, I have 2 women. What does he say? I'm talking to this one girl, but she's expecting me to commit more because she knows I already have 2 girlfriends. And it's like, man, first of all, how do you know she's expecting? What is it that she's doing that she's expecting that? How do you know it's commitment she's expecting and not she wants safety? She needs comfort. She needs security. She needs to know there's a future. She needs to know her rep is safe. That's like safety, her reputation. And you already have 2 girlfriends. Like, what is these girlfriends? Are these girls with other guys? Are these girls like, how compliant are they to you? Like, and there'd be a lot of other questions asked, like, how old are you? What do you do? Where are you from? Like, those might be relevant and would be quick to ask in a live stream, like, you know, on a lecture. But people, they don't want to ask questions publicly because it's recorded. Like, they could say, put their foot in their mouth. They could, like most men out there, especially outside of IMC Nation, even in IMC, but outside of IMC Nation, it's rampant. It's like 99.9%. Men are being dishonest. They're doing dishonest things. And so they don't want to air it out, not just because they're embarrassed about it, but because they feel like they'll be caught, because internally they feel like they're doing something wrong. And they're okay living with that if it's just them that knows that, but making it public, oh, that's too... And that's what guys got to overcome when they're afraid to like live stream or whatever. Like, they don't want to put their ideas out there because they're going to say something wrong. They can't handle the hate because they are going to confuse some words. Like, I've done probably 2,000 streams to this point. So it flows out. And I still put my foot in my mouth sometimes, but I'm actually experienced enough to like take my foot out of my mouth after I put it in my mouth. So you just move on, move forward. So, you know, words are important. And then understanding this distinction that I don't need to correct everybody's words, but I got to understand that they're not speaking the same language as me. So you hear a British person say smoke a fag, and it's not he's going to do some homosexual act. He's talking about smoking a cigarette. But so you got to know both languages, even if you're speaking the same language, because people are using different definitions for words. And, you know, and then how you go about coming to a common page with them depends on your level of rapport with them. Like, do you ask them questions? The art of asking a question has so much to do with your tonality, your demeanor, your facial expression. Is it a curious question, or are you hiding an agenda, cloaking it with curiosity? Because I get that you're curious, but curiosity has 1,000 shades. So it's curious for what reason? And if it's just on a whim, then you're not being fully honest, because that is not. Maybe it felt like just a whim, but there's a reason. There's an anchor to that whim. There's a whim for what good. What will it serve? What are you going? What solution are you going for? It's not just a fart in the wind. Even the fart in the wind is still just a fart in the wind, but there's a reason for the fart. Now, why? What did you eat? What did you consume? What did you think that made you have that whim? Because 2 people could experience the same conversation and one doesn't have a whim. They have a seed of a thought that is causing this gust of whim in them, right? So the art of asking questions, and, you know, that's very important. It's, you know, so much of this plays into relationships. People, guys out there, they just want girls, or, to maybe get some loving. And so much of it is in conversation. I said not long ago on a stream where I read in one of these psychology books, I think it was Evolution of Desire. And they broke it down where basically from meet to a relationship. So you don't know people, you don't know the girl, and then you meet and you court her, and then you have a relationship with her in a natural sense of things, not, today's drunken culture and people give up sex easy and, but a natural courtship of a relationship that will last is about 1 million words exchanged. There'll be about 1,000,000 number of words back and forth before the relationship is solid. That's a lot of exchange of ideas and a lot of room to mess up. But not if you're congruent. I mean, if it's all natural, if you're just naturally relating with the person, there is no really mess up. Again, you may put your foot in your mouth sometimes, but because you weren't overreaching, you weren't trying to be somebody you weren't, you just fumbled your words or fumbled your ideas a little bit, like, you'll recover, no problem. It's when you're trying to act like somebody you're not, and then you mess up, that then you react to you messing up, and then you struggle to get it back, and then your facade is discovered, that you weren't being authentic, you weren't being genuine. So when we work on our character in IMC Nation and we go through the trainings, we go through the readings, the movie references, all of the disciplines, we organize our life to develop our character in the way that AZD is teaching us to and has taught, then you push your baseline higher for the quality of your character, the quality of your communication, where people just get value just being in communication with you. Because you listen well, you ask the right questions, you ask them in the right way, people feel more extra comfortable with you. And it's a fair thing to say that is value. It is valuable in people's lives that don't have anyone to talk to, that don't know how to talk, that don't know how to get along, that the quality of their relationships are superficial, where you think that person's your friend, but when you're trashing your life and you're trashing your family, they did nothing to stop you. They gave you a shoulder to cry on and space to complain in, but they did nothing for you. Even if it was walk away and be like, I actually can't be friends with you if that's the kind of life you're living. That's not a friend. That's the same person that will suppress you as you ascend, as you get better, as you change your conditions, because they have certain beliefs that allowed that condition. And if you change yourself, you're going to change your beliefs, and those beliefs are going to butt heads, and they either come along or they don't. And most of the time they won't. So there's that. Let me make sure my video is pinned here. How do I pin my video? Right there. Okay, we're about to wrap it. Let's see if there's any comments or questions here. Streaming to TikToks, Instagram. All right. Okay. I think that's the gist of it. That's, the main points of what I was going to talk about. Like, words have meaning. Now, what's the solution here? I mean, study, obviously, and clarity. Emotions obscure words and their definitions, and, they start causing a person to project onto other people, like, what's going on in you. So you'll think the person's being hostile when you yourself are feeling angry towards them. You'll think the person's being manipulative when you yourself are being manipulative towards them. Or you have a manipulative idea of them because, that's how you relate with them. You got to start addressing your relationships with objects and people and your environment, because you actually that's why the art of relationships is way beyond just male, female, and sex. It's how you relate with your space, how you relate with your life. What does your past mean to you? What does your future mean to you? What is your present? What does this opportunity, the present moment, mean to you? The relationship. What is parents? What is all these things? And you will always have personal definitions for these things. And just understand that people have their own definitions for things. That's why you also shouldn't take too serious or too literal what people say, just ever, really, because they're probably not meaning what you would mean if you were to say those words. Now, the closer a person is to you, you think that you're on the same page with words. So, like, my woman, she'll say this or that. And in the beginning, I'll be tolerant and I'll teach and, whatever. But after a while, it's like, I've taught you that word, I've taught you that phrase, I've taught you how to talk, I've taught you this and that. And so the the requirements get more stringent and more strict on the girl that's been around for a while. But she's also taking your grammar and duplicating it. And your grammar is successful. She got with you because you're high level. You have the leadership call. You're obviously doing well, and it's your mind that's doing that. So she should be taking that on, and it's a value. It's a gift for her. She should be doing better in life, handling herself, handling the people around her, handling job, handling anything she has to handle. She should be handling it better. And if she's not, then maybe she shouldn't talk like you. But if she is, then maybe she should talk more like you or seek your guidance. And these are the kind of relationships we have with women in IMC Nation. The women get better because we're only dating women that look up to us. And the women that don't look up to us doesn't mean that they're not worse than us. It just means that they have a viewpoint, a mental perspective that they don't look up to us. And that's fine. 99.9% of the women can go fuck themselves. They're going to be miserable. Just mark my words. I've researched it enough. I've seen around enough. I've done with enough dating experts. I've seen hundreds of guys come and go. I've heard so many stories. It's not just little old me with my little old circle of friends that we gossip about things, and that's our understanding of the world. Like, I'm a researcher, and that means something. People would discredit like book learning or whatever, like you can't learn relationships from books. Bro, you read a book on hundreds of thousands of relationships that were analyzed and tell me you don't understand anything more about relationships. But if you haven't done it and you don't have any successful relationships in your life, you really got nothing to say. Even if you have done it, if you have no successful relationships in your life, you got nothing to say. If you have successful relationships in your life, that counts for a lot. But if you only have that and you haven't read the books, I've got to look into those relationships. Like, how long have you had those? How obedient are they? Because you're probably setting yourself up for some drama, and you're just short-sighted. You think success is that you're banging 2 or 3 chicks, but man, you got to read the books. Be part of a mastermind. That's what the links in the bios and the links in the description for this Facebook and YouTube and podcast, wherever it is, so valuable, because you could join up, try out for a month, and it will change your life forever in a way that, you know, let's say we put $5,000 in your bank right now. You may spend it. It may be gone before you know it, but forever spending that $5,000 will leave an imprint on your life. Probably you'll buy some vacation, or you get a car, or who knows what you do. You go to the strip club and you'll have a bunch of experiences in your memory from that $5,000. The $5,000 may be gone, but you'll have all those experiences forever, and you'll live better for it, probably, unless you kill yourself. Like, you'll have experiences that will improve your future decision-making because you have that wisdom of that experience. That's what joining and listening to the lectures for a month will do. You'll have so much wisdom of experience of other men that it'll be like you had spent $100,000 on experiences, but you only spent $97 to learn those experiences from all the men, AZD, and the Mastermind Effect. So that's what I recommend. I see John Kim just joined, and he had just joined Mastermind. I wish we could keep talking, but I'm kind of talked out with these. So if there's any questions, I'll give it a second and see. Otherwise, guys and girls on the podcast recording on Apple or Spotify, wherever, follow, leave a review if you haven't, leave another review if you haven't left one in a while. Okay, Tony K, shout out. Old staff member. Both old and an old staff member. I'm just kidding. From the IMC TV YouTube, leaving comments. Okay, everybody, thank you for attending. I'll see you on the next podcast and the next stream, wherever I see you. Join up, and maybe I'll see you sooner than later. Os.